Welcome back, everybody, to another thrilling episode of Thrive Street Program with Coach 2Js. This is your host, Jeremy Jones, and today we're going to talk about scapular retraction when we're doing things like chin-ups, as well as this fun workout we did back in April. So, one of the things we want people to understand when they're doing their chin-ups is that we want them to go into a position where when they're doing their pull-ups, that I'm going to draw the torso actually in more more than 1D. Is that we want them to hang so that their scapula are moving up, right? So they're actually getting that, and then they pull their scapula back into. I'm going to zoom in on this. So they can pull their scapula together, right? So that it initiates. They go from a full hang, and then we pull those scapula together, initiating with the larger muscle groups before initiating. Oh, I'm double zooming in. Turn that off. Before they start initiating with the arms. And this is really important because that scapular retraction, that strengthening of the back muscles, is actually going to help with their posture. It's going to help with the shoulders. So it's something that we want people to understand. Also, if you look at the pull-up from the side, or the chin-up from the side, I'm going to draw it with a slightly bent arm. What we want to see is their eyes should be looking up, and then we want them to lock their core so that their body's hanging this way, right? So they're actually so they're engaging their abdominal muscles, and we want their center of balance will swing their feet out and kind of in front of the bar, and that's going to make it a little bit more of a horizontal pull, not necessarily directly up, and that's going to help with that scapula. And people will find they can usually do this, but at the bottom we still want them to hit that full extension at the bottom so that they're hanging like this each time. So, and then they initiate like this. But make sure that they're locking their core and they're pulling their scapula back before they initiate the chin up or pull up. And like I said, this is really good for people's shoulders and keeping their shoulders healthy. All right, so we've got a pretty basic warm-up here. Again, just let people do some of the stuff before class. At least, usually it's best to have them do that jump rope or run before class, and then as a group, you can take them through everything else that's written down here. Then we're going to do some hip activation stuff. We're about halfway through the strength focus, so still kind of biasing those positions, but also thinking about that hip activation, especially the glute med. One of the things that you can actually do that might help with people are monster band walks or I think what do they call them? Swinging sack walks. Basically, what you would do is you would take, this is the hips and the legs, and you would take like a rubber band around the hips, and you'd hang a kettlebell or something around, and so you can either tie it to their belt or you can just loop the band. Actually, the band would be looped like that around the kettlebell, and then they would walk with their feet wide and the swing, and then they want to resist the swinging side to side, and that's really going to activate the hips to make sure that they're controlling their femurs when they do this. And again, it's a great activation drill. I'll try to make a video for that so you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right. So we're going to do 6x4, 6 sets of 4 reps on these box squats. Just make sure people are going down slow, pausing for 2 to 3 seconds, and then standing up without tipping forward. It's not just a touch and go, right? We're not just using the box to check depth. That's fine, but that's a back squat, not a box squat. A box squat means we need to come down to the bottom, pause before standing back up. Then we've got our single arm ring row, and then for people on this, it's okay to have their feet wide. So just remember that people, it's okay to have the feet wide, and it kind of goes back to that scapular retraction thing. We want to let the scapula come forward on the shoulder and then initiate the pulling back. And of course, one of the reasons why we're doing the single arm is because it's going to work the core, a lot more of the core muscles, because they have to work on that diagonal resistance to rotation, right? So that's one of the ways we're going to work those core muscles. Resisting twisting or rotation is one of the key things that our trunk and our core muscles do. So we've got Not So Naïve, which is a 9-minute AMRAP. We're going to do some strict chin-ups. Then we're going to go into single arm dumbbell jerk. So we actually want people to do the jerk with these. Obviously, beginners can do more of a push press, but the jerk is going to be important because of some of the other shoulder stuff we're doing this week, and I don't want, if people are push pressing it, they're going to end up kind of blowing their shoulders out a little bit. So when it says jerk, that is the recommended movement pattern, because it does take into account kind of what we've been doing and what we're going to be doing. And then we're going to do these 12 alternating reverse lunges, just standing in place. And then starting at 0 at 3 and 6, we're going to stop and do 25 double unders, right? So now, of course, some people might need to do single unders, but this is just going to break up these other movements. These 3 movements are going to be a lot more of a grind, and they're not going to be that taxing from a cardiovascular standpoint. And so in order to sort of get the heart rate up and kind of get people the intensity that they sort of crave, we're going to throw those double unders in there and just kind of break up sort of the monotony of the workout. What's going to happen is people are going to hit muscular failure on these chin-ups. Their shoulders are probably going to need a little bit of a break from holding the dumbbell overhead for these 2 movements, and so the double unders are there just to kind of cleanse the palate, if you will, and but still keep the intensity and the heart rate up. Should be about 3 to 5 rounds, about a minute 45 per round. As I said, we did this one back in April of last year, and then of course we've got our cash out here for people who want to do the cash out. There is no hypertrophy today, so it's 20 toes to bar, 3-minute row, 10 toes to bar, 2-minute row, 5 toes to bar, 1-minute row. So that's a pretty spicy little cash out. Let's jump over to the weekly overview. So you can see here it's week 13 of the calendar year, week 4 of the strength focus. We've got our back squats on Monday and on Friday this week, and then our other lift here is power cleans on Thursday, and then we're not doing any other lifts on the weekend. We've got our benchmark here, the Chief, on Tuesday. Then we're doing another for quality workout here. We did this one back in July of last year. It's got some heavy thrusters in it and some other movements in it. But we're gonna end it with a run or a row just to kind of let people kind of push that intensity and make the workout a little bit longer. So it's a 15-minute for quality workout, and then we're gonna do this run or row at the end. Then our death by 10 meters going prone, which is one I haven't done in a while, which is one of my favorite workouts for people to do because it's just so funny how simple it is and how hard it gets all of a sudden. And then we've got another benchmark here, UB Illin, which is a 5 rounds of wall balls and toes to bar. Team workout for Saturday, and then a new workout here for Sunday with some rope climbs. So fun stuff on that front. We are, the next week we're going to be testing our new strength focus, which will be jerks after we finish the back or box squats. So we are going to be doing some stuff again. We've been doing the single arm ring rows to sort of prep the shoulders and strengthen those other muscles. They're going to help people have good positioning and stability and strength when going overhead, and that's going to help lend people to better success when we go into the heavy jerks in the next focus. And as I mentioned before, we are doing a lot of double under work. So just notice, take it seriously when we, if people are talking about their Achilles or whatever kind of being a little spicy, especially after last week's programming and stuff. We had a lot of double unders the last couple of weeks. So just make sure their ankles are feeling good, their heel cords are feeling good. Just another quick note here on these skill work things. You'll see things like handstand push-up show up in the skill work, and it may or may not show up during the week, but it will probably show up again within the next week, right? So a lot of times we'll be doing these skill progressions to set up workouts that are coming down the pipe, right? So just be aware of that. I know sometimes it can be hard to fit in the skill work into the when we have so many other things going on in the hour. You can always try to shorten that up. That is one of the things that's a little bit flexible. But you'll notice that, like, for example, we don't have I try to avoid really complicated skill work on Mondays because it's usually a busier day, or just when we have a lot of stuff to do. So, for example, there's no skill work here on Friday or Saturday, just so we have more time to get everything else done. But that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot, and thrive on.